Episode 16, Dating in 30s/40s.
So, dating in your 30s and 40s. It's a lot like playing a game of musical chairs, except the music never stops and you start to wonder if there are even any chairs left. It can be tough out there, folks. When you're in your 20s, dating is like a buffet. You have a whole spread of options in front of you and you can try a little bit of everything. But in your 30s and 40s, it's more like a prix-fixe menu. You have fewer choices and you start to become more discerning. But it's not just about the quantity of options, it's about the quality too. In your 20s, you might have been able to overlook certain things, like a guy who still wears a fedora unironically or a woman who thinks astrology is a legitimate career path. But in your 30s and 40s, those red flags become deal breakers. And let's talk about online dating. It's a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, you can browse through potential partners from the comfort of your own home, in your pajamas, with a glass of wine in hand. On the other hand, you have to wade through a sea of shirtless bathroom selfies and messages that say DTF? Which, for those of you who don't know, stands for down to F. And then there's the issue of baggage. When you're dating in your 30s and 40s, everyone comes with some baggage. Maybe they've been divorced, maybe they have kids, maybe they have a collection of vintage My Little Pony figurines that they're really proud of. You never know what you're going to get. But despite all the challenges, there are some benefits to dating in your 30s and 40s. For one thing, you're more confident and self-assured. You know what you want and you're not afraid to ask for it. Plus, you've had more life experiences, so you have more interesting stories to share on dates. And let's face it, at this point, we've all had enough bad dates to have some truly hilarious stories. In conclusion, dating in your 30s and 40s is like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the needle is a decent human being who won't ghost you after 3 dates. But hey, we're all in this together. And if worse comes to worst, there's always cats. Alright, hello everyone. So, I hear we're talking about navigating the dating scene in your 30s or 40s tonight. I'm sure many of you have experienced the joys of dating in your younger years, where everything seemed new and exciting. But as you get older, the dating pool can start to feel more like a murky swamp than a refreshing oasis. Personally, I've found that dating in your 30s is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But the haystack is on fire, and the needle is also on fire, and you're on fire too, because you accidentally walked into the wrong bar. But in all seriousness, dating in your 30s or 40s can be tough. By this point, most people have been through their fair share of breakups, and everyone has their own set of baggage they're lugging around. Plus, there's the added pressure of feeling like you're on a timeline. You don't want to waste your time with someone who isn't right for you, but you also don't want to settle just because you're getting older and your biological clock is ticking louder than a ticking time bomb. And let's not forget the joys of online dating. It's like a never-ending game of Where's Waldo, except instead of Waldo, you're trying to find someone who doesn't have a profile picture with a Snapchat filter, or a bio that just says I like to have fun. Spoiler alert, everyone likes to have fun. But despite all the challenges, there are some perks to dating in your 30s and 40s. For one, you've probably got a better idea of what you're looking for in a partner. You're not as easily swayed by superficial things like looks or money, and you're more focused on finding someone who shares your values and goals in life. And, let's be real, there's something kind of sexy about someone who's got their life together. A stable job, a decent savings account, and a good relationship with their parents? Sign me up. In conclusion, dating in your 30s or 40s may not be as glamorous as it was in your 20s, but it's not all bad. Just remember to keep an open mind, don't settle for someone who isn't right for you, and most importantly, don't forget to have fun. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Thank you and good night. Dating in your 30s or 40s is like being in a game of musical chairs, but instead of chairs, it's partners, and instead of music, it's a ticking biological clock. And if you're not quick enough, you might end up without a seat at the end of the game. But really, dating at this age is a completely different ball game. In your 20s, you could just swipe right on every profile and see what sticks. But in your 30s or 40s, you have to be more selective. You're looking for more than just a pretty face or a good time. You're looking for someone who can help you split the rent and take care of your kids. It's also important to note that dating apps have changed the game. You can no longer just write I like long walks on the beach and expect to get a match. You have to have a bio that stands out from the crowd. Something like I'm looking for someone who won't ghost me after the 3rd date might do the trick. And let's not forget about the dreaded first date. You're no longer just trying to impress someone with your ability to chug a beer or do a keg stand. You have to actually engage in meaningful conversation. So, instead of talking about your favorite Netflix show or your favorite bar, you have to talk about your hopes and dreams, your career aspirations, and your plans for the future. But the real challenge of dating in your 30s or 40s is finding someone who is on the same page as you. You're no longer just looking for a partner, you're looking for a co-parent, a caregiver, and a financial partner. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the needle is a person who is emotionally available, financially stable, and ready to commit. In conclusion, dating in your 30s or 40s is a tricky business. But don't worry, there's someone out there for everyone. And if all else fails, just remember that there's always wine, chocolate, and Netflix. Cheers to that.
And that wraps up another laughter-filled episode of Not So Funny A. If you enjoyed the jokes generated by our AI algorithms, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our comedy-loving community.